Hey everybody, welcome back to this Let's Play of City of Heroes. First of all, I'd like to apologize for just sort of the gap in between my Let's Play videos. This week, right after Easter, my teacher's just been assigning a whole bunch of work and I've just been busy. And it's not that I don't like making Let's Plays is cool, but this part is a little bit boring, but we're gonna get it out of the way so we can do all the cool stuff in City of Heroes, alright? So let's get through this. In this episode, we're gonna go over controller primaries. So just click on controller, go to the origin, and alright, let's get started. Earth control. The greatest thing I like about earth control is that it's a balanced set that has a decent amount of damage. It has a lot of different controls. If you have a certain mob type that's resistant against a certain mesmerization type, like disorient or an immobilize or a hold, earth control has just about every different type of mesmerization. It's got slows. I like earth control, but the only problem with earth control I find is you have to grab a lot of the powers, because a lot of the powers are viable, okay? And the problem is that you'll be using them very, very often, just pretty much spamming them, and it'll be a constant drain on your end bar, unfortunately. So you just have to be careful with that. Hopefully you have a good team that can capitalize on all your control powers. Oh, another thing I need to say about all the controller primaries is that all the controller primaries, their tier 9, or the last power that you get in the set is going to be a pet power. Each controller primary has a different pet power. There's one controller primary that actually has multiple pets that you can get, but they're different from this normal pet power. But basically, because controller primary sets don't normally do a lot of damage on its own just with the powers, the tier 9 is a pet power that will always be on as long as it can stay alive, and will always just constantly attack your foes. And some of them are better than others. Some of them are more focused on damage. Some of them are more focused on being in melee. Some of them are more focused on being at ranged, and all of them are actually very good. You always want to get your pet power at level 32 when you're a controller. Anyways, moving on, we're going to go to fire control. Fire control, by far, is the most damage dealing of all the controller primaries. Fire control has fire imps, which is the only pet power that you get. That's your last power that you get 3 of. Each of them does a good amount of damage, but they're not very hard to kill. They're very soft, but fire imps are very, very nasty. And the other reason why is that fire is one of the most damage dealing controller primaries. It's hot feet. Hot feet is a damage over time toggle. You put it on, it'll constantly do damage to things that are around you, pretty much. The only problems with fire is that it doesn't have as many powers that are useful, like in a team. Like, it doesn't have any knockdowns. It doesn't have any, or it doesn't have too much in the way of slows. It has immobilizes, it has its holds, but it's not as control-y, a lot more damage, but I love fire as a control set. Fire, probably the most popular controller primary in City of Heroes, I'd say. Next up, we got gravity control. Gravity control is, how do I put this? Probably one of the least used controller primaries, I think. Maybe, yeah, it's definitely one of the lesser used, because some of its powers are very situational, we'll say. It has its basic controls. It has its basic pet. Its pet actually has a repel power that makes it so whenever you have mobs that approach the pet, it'll automatically knock them away from the pets. So the pet's really hard to kill, which is good. And the pet is a very control-y pet as well, so the pet will have its own controls while you have your controls at the same time. Some of the powers in gravity control just aren't are situationally hard to use. Like wormhole. Wormhole is a power that will transport groups of enemies from a target area and transport them to you, and that could be both good and bad. Like I said, very situational power set gravity control. It's pretty cool to look. The looks are pretty cool, but not my favorite control set. Going on to ice control. Ice control is very much like earth control. Actually, they're both pretty similar. They both got like ice slick. It's like same thing like earthquake. A really awesome knockdown. What I really like about ice control is like with ice slick, you don't have to have line of sight to wherever you're using the ice slick, so you can use it around like corners. You can do it around walls. It'll pretty much knock down anything that you put the ice slick on there, and that's really awesome. Jack Frost, great pet, does a good amount of damage if he's in melee. Pretty hardy pet too, so there's nothing wrong about ice